Hi, I'm Gretel von Bargen, International Baccalaureate Biology teacher. It's the Year of the Bird, which is one of the reasons why I elected to focus my National Geographic Certification Capstone project on bird species identification and study.
Watching the evening news or reading newspaper headlines, it would be easy to have a bleak appraisal of the current status of the environment. As Jane Goodall has said, it's not a pretty picture, but there are reasons for hope.
My mission as an educator is to teach students that in fact one person can make a difference. To this end, when I design lessons, I actively use the environment and community around and beyond the school as a context for student learning and empowerment.
A strategy I use to engage students is to utilize project-based learning within the school community and on a global scale. The projects provide opportunities for my students to leave the classroom, experience field biology in action, and to plant the seed for continued individual involvement. This activity was completed with a group of students while we were volunteering with a field ecology project in Costa Rica. We assisted a scientific research team with a project focused on identifying frugivorous animals, primarily birds, who are actively eating fruits at points along a preset transit line. There were 4 parts to the activity. First, the students learned how and why to identify bird species. We began with novices when it came to identification of species of birds. The students learned the common language of physical characteristics used in bird identification, such as size, shape, color, and markings. Students practiced identifying birds by looking at images of birds presented in a slideshow and using identification cards, ID bird books, and digital applications to determine the species. The second part of the activity was practice with bird species identification. As a group, we went to some field study observation points and together silently observed birds and made species identification notes. Students learned the importance of quiet observation so that the animals are not disturbed and how to correctly use observation tools of binoculars. Once students had learned the observation protocol and how to identify bird species, the third part of the activity was actual data collection. Our group spent 4 days working in small groups to make bird identifications at different points along transect lines. The transects were 100 meters long, with observation points every 10 meters. At each point, the student groups would follow a prescribed protocol for the timing of bird observations and identifications. Students would record quantitative and qualitative data on our data sheet that was provided by the research staff we were assisting. After each day of data collection, the students would enter their data into a shared spreadsheet so the species that were observed at different points could be compared and correlated to the types of fruits available in the trees at each point. The students were able to see how the data they collected fit into a larger, longer-term study of the role of frugivores in Costa Rican forests.
The major impact of this activity on my students was a long-term appreciation of birds and a deepened understanding of the important role birds play in the ecosystem. In addition, the activity provided the students with an authentic experience with the scientific process and a personalized understanding of the nature of science. The students also formed friendships with their peers, relationships I expect will last well into the future when we're back into the routine of a traditional high school classroom.
The activity included at least 3 perspectives, each of which were examined at the local and global scales. The ecological was the primary perspective of the activity, as students were examining ecological interactions at a local level, birds and trees, and then asked to make broader interpretations of the data, how seed dispersal by birds impacts ecosystems at the regional and global scales. The transects of our bird surveys were located next to Costa Rican fincas, farms, and as a result, on occasion, the students had the opportunity to interact with members of the community, providing a cultural perspective. Lastly, a focus of the research was to determine where the birds were most prevalent, providing a spatial perspective. The students definitely displayed the explorer mindset during our time in Costa Rica. They displayed the attitudes of curiosity and responsibility. They gained knowledge of our changing planet, and they practiced skills of observation and collaboration.
I've been teaching high school science for 16 years, and I'm proud to have made it my life's work. Every day I collaborate with colleagues who inspire me and explore science that fascinates me. I encourage students to be better learners, and they in turn encourage me to be a better teacher. My goal is to build educated, empowered, responsible citizens of the community, the region, and of the planet. I know that in my own small way, I'm making the world a better place by enabling my students to become scientifically and environmentally aware adults. With each class of students I teach, my optimism for the future strengthens.